Hello students and welcome to the lecture. So students, as we know that we are going to start the directive principles of the state policy as we had already started it in the previous lecture. And basically you could say that these are the topics we have scheduled for the discussion, like the introduction part, like the features of the directive principles, like the classification of the directive principles, like the new directive principles, like the sanction behind the directive principles, like the criticism of the directive principles, like the utility of directive principles. All right. Conflict between fundamental rights and the directive principles, distinction between fundamental rights and the directive principles, implementation of directive principles, directive outside part 4th, and articles related to the directive principles of state policy at a glance. All right. So far, basically, we had completed the introduction part and the features. And what we were discussing about the classification of the directive principle of state policy. As we had discussed that there are three types of classification. All right. First is socialist principle. All right. Second is Gandhian principle. All right. And the third is liberal intellectual principle. All right. These are the three types of principles we have. All right. We had finished the socialist principles. On what we are left with? We are left with the Gandhian principles and the liberal intellectual principles. So basically, we will continue from here. All right. So now let's have a talk about the Gandhian principles. All right. These principles are basically based on the Gandhian ideology, represent the program of the reconstruction initiated by Gandhi during the national movement. In order to fulfill the dreams of Gandhi, some of ideas were included as a directive principles. All right. So basically, you could say that the Gandhian principles is basically based on the Mahatma Gandhi. All right. Mahatma Gandhi. All right. And you could say that basically when he was doing the national movements of that time, he realized so many things in India which are to be corrected. All right. And basically, in order to fulfill the dreams of Mr. Gandhi, what happened that we had included some of the, you can say, dreams as the directive principles in the state policy, which are known as the Gandhian principles. So let's have a look on the first one. To organize village panchayat and endue them with necessary powers and authority to enable them to function as units of self-government. All right. That is basically from the Article 40. As we have discussed, that basically we had the two amendments. First is 73rd Amendment Act of 1992. All right. Thereafter, 74th Amendment Act of 1992. All right. So basically, the 73rd is for the village panchayat. All right. And basically, the 74th is basically for the municipality, corporation. Okay, but what does these two acts significance? That both of these acts were basically focused on the local government. All right. As we know in India, basically we have the two types of government officially in the federal system. And what are these two types? Like, first type is the central government. Second type is the state government. All right. Officially, through the constitution, we have these two types of government. All right. Then what happened? That the third type, which is the concept of local government, that was added by these two acts. All right. So why did we require a local government? Why? So basically, if we look at the population and the territorial side of the Indian country, then India is basically a vast country. All right. And as we know, that the central government having the responsibilities for the national issue. All right. And the state government having the responsibility for the state issues. All right. So basically, if we decode it in the proper sense, then what will happen? The central government, which is looking after the national issues, all right, they, you could say that basically they look after the nation as a whole. All right. When we talk about the state government, which is responsible for any particular state, they are looking after the state as a whole. But what about the local level? Like, what about the district level? What about the block level, tehsil level, or you can say the village level? All right. So that's why the local government was formed, which is required to look after the local government. All right. Or you can say local issues. Okay. So that was a thing. So basically, that was envisaged by Mahatma Gandhi. All right. And Article 40 was inserted into the Directive Principle of State Policy. Later, in the year of 1992, by the virtue of 73rd Amendment Act and 74th Amendment Act, we basically restored the local government. Why I'm saying restoring? Because remember, prior to the Britishers, when the Britishers were not ruling in India, basically the India having the concept of local government. All right. And that system was flourished during the medieval India. All right. And basically, you could say that basically this system was known as the Mukaddam system. All right. About this, we will see in you can say detail form when we were having the lectures on the Panchayati Raj institutions. Till then, just remember, basically in the medieval part of the Indian history, we had the Mukaddam system. Later on, due to the British policies, the Mukaddam system was abolished, and later, by Article 40, we again aspired that we are going to have a Mukaddam system in future while we were formulating the constitution and while we were adopting it. And later, as we know, in 1992, we finally restored the local government system, but also we had to do some modification in it as per the requirements of the modern times. All right. Thereafter, another one is to promote the cottage industries on an individual or corporation basis in the rural areas. So basically, when we talk about it, then we know that India is a vast country with a vast population. And even in India, there is a, you can say, open problem of unequal opportunities. All right. Also, you could call it as a resources. All right. Unequal resources. So basically, what is happening in India? Like we know, in India, there are some segments which are the richer class, they having more money than the middle class and the lower class. All right. So basically, the richer class are, you can say, much more empowered to participate into the industries in comparison with the middle and the lower class. All right. And so basically, what was the thinking of Mahatma Gandhi was that we should promote the cottage industry. These are the small scale industries, and this could give a livelihood to the people like the middle and the lower class who do not having the resources to open a, you can say, vast ground of industries. All right, and this could be done on the individual or the cooperation basis in the rural areas, so that not only the rural economy will get flourished, but even the people of that area will get the livelihood. All right. Another one was to promote the voluntary formation, autonomous functioning, democratic control, and professional management of cooperative societies. Okay. And that was introduced in the Article 43B. All right. And basically, remember 93rd 93rd Amendment Act of 2011. All right. Basically, what happened that we finally provided the constitutional status to the cooperative societies. All right. Okay. So remember this point also. Thereafter, another one is to promote the education and economic interest of the SC, scheduled caste, and the scheduled tribes, and the other weaker section of the society and protect them from the social injustice and the exploitation. Because this is powered by Article 46. Because when we got the independence, and you can say when we were in the British India, basically there was a significant discrimination on the basis of caste and tribes. All right. The upper caste and the lower caste were there. All right. And because of this, many things were happening in the country which were not right in any way. So that's why that article was inserted as an aspiration that the government, or you can say the governing body of the country, must be sympathetic for the educational and the economic interest of the SC/STs and the other weaker section of society, so that they could be protected against the social injustice and exploitations. All right. To prohibit the consumption of intoxicating drinks and drugs which are injurious to health. All right. Intoxicating drinks and drugs which are injurious to health, so that the youth of the country could be protected by the power of Article 47. To prohibit the slaughter of cows, calves, and other milk and draught cattle and to improve their breeds. And this is basically powered by the Article 48. All right. Thereafter, another one is liberal intellectual principles. All right. Liberal intellectual principles. The principles included in these categories represent the ideology of liberalism. All right. So, what is that? First, to secure for all citizens a uniform civil code throughout the country by the Article 44. So, basically, when we talk about India as a country, all right, then we know India is a land of diverse culture and religion. All right. India is a land of diverse culture and religions. Got it? Because of this, what is happening in India? Like every other religion, custom, and you can say sect of some particular philosophy, they having their own rules and traditions. All right. And due to this, India's legal codes are not applying uniformly. Okay. Suppose you could say that in some religion, there is only permission for one marriage. In some religion, there is a permission for one or two marriages. All right. And as we know, in India, there are certain laws which prohibited this concept of having more than one wife without divorcing the another one. Right. So that's why uniform civil code is a greatest or you could say most awaited aspiration of the country. Okay, so that uniformly the legal codes could be applied on everyone. It means that whether person from some other religion, some other culture, some other custom, some other sect of philosophy, from whatever or from wherever, the uniform civil code will be applied on them uniformly. All right, so that is the thing. Thereafter, to provide the early childhood care and education for all children until they completed the age of 6 years. All right, that is from Article 45. This is also known as elementary education. Okay, third one is to organize agriculture and the animal husbandry on modern and the scientific lines. All right, to organize the agriculture and the animal husbandry on the modern and the scientific lines by the power of Article 48. Fourth one is to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard forests and the wildlife. This is Article 48A. So remember, when the question asks in the examination, like Article 48 gives which article. So remember, it's provided to organize the agriculture and the animal husbandry on the modern and the scientific lines. Okay, but if the question asks about Article 48A, remember to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard forest and the wildlife. All right, remember this thing. Thereafter, to protect the monuments, places, and objects of artistic or historical interest which are declared to be a national importance. All right, it means that the government should be careful enough to spread the awareness amongst the people that we are required to protect the monuments, places, and objects of the artistic and historical interest which are declared to be a national importance by Article 49. To separate the judiciary from the executive in the public services of the state, that is from the Article 50. It means that the executives who are in the officer cadres, or you can say who are having the powers, all right, they must be separated from the work of judiciary. What does it mean? It means that the officer could only exercise the executive powers. All right. If any office subordinate did something wrong, then the officer by himself is not required to punish that particular subordinate in whichever way. He will refer it to the judiciary, or you could say he is only allowed to take actions as per the rules and regulation norms of the organization. Rules and regulation norms of the organization. Got it? That's the thing. Thereafter, to promote the international peace and security and maintain just and honorable relations between the nations, to foster respect for the international law and treaty obligations, and to create and to encourage the settlement of international disputes by arbitration. That is by Article 51. All right. So these are the things. Now, thereafter, after the socialist principles, Gandhian principles, all right, and the liberal intellectual principles, all right. There are other so many, you could say, areas also. All right. So, what are these new directive principles? First is the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. This act, oftenly regarded as a mini constitution. Why? Because so many provisions were added to the, you can say, constitution because of this, you can say, act. All right. That's why it is oftenly regarded as a mini constitution. This added four new directive principles to the original list, and that's make the state to secure the opportunities for healthy development of children, Article 39, to promote equal justice and to provide the free legal aid to the poor, Article 39A, to take steps to secure the participation of workers in the management of industries, Article 43A, to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forest and wildlife by Article 48A. Okay, so remember the mini constitution or the 42nd Act of 1976 added the four new directive principles to the original list. Like the Article 39, it stands for to secure the opportunities for healthy development of children. Article 39A, to promote equal justice and to provide free legal aid to the poor. Article 43A, to take steps to secure the participation of workers in the management of industries. Article 43A, to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard forest and the wildlife. All right. So these are the new directives. The 44th Amendment Act of 1978 added one more directive principles which requires the state to minimize inequalities in the terms of income, status, facilities, and opportunities. All right. So what was happening? Basically, if we talk about the original scenario, then the original articles were starting from Article 39 to Article 51. All right. Article 39 to Article 51. This was the original scenario. Then what happened? By the power of 44th Amendment Act of 1978, what happened? That Article 38 was added to the Constitution. Which article? Article 38 was added to the Constitution, and now the articles are from Article 38 to Article 51. All right. So that is the scenario nowadays. Got it? Thereafter, again, the 86th Amendment Act of 2002 changed the subject matter of Article 45 and made elementary education a fundamental right under Article 21A. So what was happening? That prior to the year of 2002, the Article 45 of the Directive Principles of State Policy, you can say, makes the state to ensure the elementary education to the children up to 6 years of age. Okay. But then what happened? That the 86th Amendment Act of 2002 changed the scenario and basically declared Article 45 as a fundamental right under Article 21A. So you could say the content of providing the elementary education up to 6 years, all right, that was initially presented under the Article 45 and was not enforceable in the court. Why? Because as we know that the directive principles of state policy are not enforceable in the courts, right? But in 86th Amendment Act of 2002, basically the government made it responsibly that Article 21A will now have the same content as it was having in the Article 45 and made it a fundamental right, which means now this is enforceable in court. Like if any government fails to do this, the government will be responsible towards the people and towards the court as well. All right. Thereafter, another one was 97th Act 2011. Okay. So student, just correct the previous one. That was not 93rd. That was 97. Okay. 97th Amendment Act of 2011 added a new directive principles relating to the cooperative societies. Requires the state to promote the voluntary formation, autonomous functioning, democratic control, and professional management of cooperative societies, 43P. All right. And remember, nowadays, if we talk about today's term, then the cooperative societies basically having what? Basically having the constitutional status. Okay. Keep this thing in your mind. So students, basically in this lecture, we have finished till here. In the next lecture, we will start from here. Till then, just revise all the facts and figures which we have discussed in this lecture and be ready for the another lecture. With this note, let's end this lecture, and what we say, thank you.